More boxes, bro. I bought the box for $75.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
Why am I still getting hate?
Technology, life, social media, people. Francis, and this is a documentary about how YouTube affects the teenage mind. And today we're going to be breaking down YouTube and explaining how it's impactful to teenagers. But before we do that, we have to go back to a time of when YouTube first aired onto the internet. YouTube, one of the most popular and powerful social media platforms in the world. When YouTube first aired onto the internet back in 2005, it was not only revolutionary in the social media world, but it gave the people of the community more accessibility to content. For example, people can look at the news on YouTube instead of television, since it is easily accessible that you can open on your phone, tablet, or computer. Then eventually businesses would use this platform, YouTube, for marketing and advertising videos to draw in a bigger audience. YouTube has remained as the biggest social media platform on the internet and still continues to advance. Another example of YouTube's business strategies is YouTube Boxing, which originated from the KSI vs Joe Weller fight back in February 2018. It's now a strategy that YouTube uses to draw in a bigger audience throughout the world. And YouTube Boxing has become such a big trend on YouTube, as you have boxing matches such as KSI vs Logan Paul, Jake Paul vs Nissan Gibb, and many other boxing matches and more to come in the near future. YouTubers or YouTube influencers such as Logan Paul, James Charles, KSI, PewDiePie, Tana Mongeau, and many more, making millions of dollars off YouTube. And YouTube influencers can be influential with their creative content because target audiences will be drawn into a content they enjoy and find engaging. And this is how YouTube influencers build up their brand. Also, since nowadays YouTube influencers are somewhat like the new celebrity trends of the internet, it does lead to a certain percentage of people wanting to become YouTubers in the future. For example, a YouTuber who has built up his YouTube/social media career in many ways is KSI, because he started off as a gamer, mainly FIFA games, and then built his career as a YouTuber through music, boxing, assignment, and still continues to build his own career in so many ways. And it's not just KSI, it's countless numbers of YouTubers who build up their brands in different styles. From a biological aspect, YouTube impacts the teenager's mind is that it can increase the depressive symptoms of the brain. This is because since teenagers nowadays go through a lot of stress with school, work, college, and even themselves, they would use YouTube not only for watching content but also a way to escape from the real world. However, from a positive point of view of YouTube does give teenagers access to YouTube for any schoolwork, which helps teenagers gather more information easily.
How often do you watch YouTube daily? Maybe 1 hour and a half.
How often do you watch YouTube daily?
I watch YouTube on a daily basis. I would say I would watch it not every hour during a regular school day, but if I were to not have any school at all and have lots of free time, I would probably end up watching YouTube at every hour, unless I were to go out. However, if I'm in my house, I will probably end up watching it.
Alright, how often do you watch YouTube daily?
I watch it too often. I watch it like every day, and I'm embarrassed by how much I watch it. Yeah, it's too too much.
Okay. How do you think YouTube impacts the teenage mind? Well, it depends. I think it's really good for finding a lot of information, but I think if the teenagers only watch YouTube, it's probably not the greatest thing, because you need to get information from another source, not just. I think if you believe everything is on YouTube, then that's probably not a good thing. You need to check your sources and make sure what you get out of YouTube is not the only place when you look for information.
How do you think YouTube impacts the teenage mind?
I think anyone with too much screen time is not good for you. It's not good for the brain. So I think it probably impacts them a lot if they're spending a lot of time on it.
So like the more they watch it, the more like it could increase like negatively in a way.
Yeah, I think it could cause stress if you're constantly on your phone all the time, and if you're constantly clicking for things on YouTube.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you?
I think that YouTube is a way for. I think YouTube impacts a teenager's mind because it's a way for others to express themselves, and then teenagers can. It's kind of a way of culture for teenagers. So right now we live in the digital revolution. So I would say it's kind of like a teenager's way for it's a teenager's way to express themselves. So and they're able to be creators because they're able to be creators. They can express themselves and they can basically partake in self-expression. So I think it's very important for teenagers' minds nowadays because we live in the digital revolution.
So like since we live in like the Gen Z generation in a way.
Yeah.
Do you think teenagers watch YouTube are addicted?
Yeah, I think they definitely are. I mean, when it comes to social media, I mean, YouTube is a part of social media, and I think social media can be extremely addictive, especially if you're not, especially if you don't have any tasks to complete, and not just that, but social media is also some of the ways that people procrastinate more important tasks, and I think that's when it can become a problem. But I think because it's such a phenomenon. Because it's such a phenomenon, I think it's very easy for it to become it's easy for people to become dependent on it. So, for example, if they ever want to connect to the world and see what's going on in their feed, they will always check their YouTube. If they're trying to avoid tasks, then they'll end up watching YouTube videos. So I think, yeah.
Do you think teenagers watch YouTube too much?
Well, I don't think anyone watches YouTube too much because YouTube, although it can be an addictive form of entertainment sometimes, I think that one of the ways that you learn something new every day is definitely YouTube. I think YouTube is a way to take in information on a daily basis. So it's a way for your brain to basically receive information and learn new pieces of data and information for you to learn. And you just have to make sure because if it does, then that's when the over reliability.
How do you think YouTube impacts the teenage mind?
I would say that it really depends on the person, but for a teenager, it depends on the content they're watching. So like if they're watching like Logan Paul or something, then it's probably going to impact them a lot because, well, he's got energy and things like that. He's very, I don't want to say extravagant, but energetic in a way which people see that and then they're like, oh, I want to do that too. So then they try to be like him. And that applies with a lot of other YouTubers who just generally do things like that, or people who are interested in like makeup and things. And then they want to do makeup tutorials on YouTube or stuff. So it really depends on who the person is, what they watch, and they think, I want to do that too. So then, yeah.
Do you think teenagers watch YouTube too much?
Well, I don't think anyone watches YouTube too much because YouTube, although it can be an addictive form of entertainment sometimes, I think that one of the ways that you learn something new every day is definitely YouTube. I think YouTube is a way to take in information on a daily basis. So it's a way for your brain to basically receive information and learn new pieces of data and information for you to learn. And I just have to make sure because if it does, then that's when the over reliability.
Do you think teenagers watch YouTube too much?
I mean, I do. I watch YouTube too much, but yes, I do. I mean, again, like a lot of people do get influenced by YouTubers in like everyday life, which really can lead people just to do crazy and insane things. And maybe if people didn't watch YouTube so much, maybe they wouldn't be like that. But yeah, it really also depends on the person.
Do you think teenagers can be addicted to YouTube?
Yeah, definitely.
And
If so, like how?
well, I think if that's the only thing they do and they don't read or they don't go to watch to get information from somewhere else, or if they don't talk about what they see on YouTube and take everything on YouTube for granted, then I think it could be negative.
Again, I think you can definitely be addicted to your screens. And I guess YouTube could kind of suck you in and you keep clicking on things. And it could... the thing I find that probably is quite negative about it is that you're choosing what to watch. So you're probably not getting lots of sources of information. You're choosing what news you watch, you're choosing what films you click on.
So like with YouTube, on like most platforms, you have like infinite access in a way towards information.
You think you do, but actually the algorithms drag you towards only one area, and actually you watch a lot less and have a lot narrower viewpoint, because if you're taking things from lots of different sources and there's no algorithm involved, then it's actually a much fairer way of looking at the world, because you get lots of different perspectives. And what YouTube and other platforms do is just reinforce one viewpoint based on what you're clicking on.
Do you think teenagers watch YouTube are addictive?
Yeah, I think they definitely are. I mean, when it comes to social media, I mean, YouTube is a part of social media, and I think social media can be extremely addictive, especially if you're not, especially if you don't have any tasks to complete, and not just that, but social media is also some of the ways that people procrastinate more important tasks, and I think that's when it can become a problem. But I think because it's such a phenomenon, I think it's very easy for it to become it's easy for people to become dependent on it. So, for example, if they ever want to connect to the world and see what's going on in their feed, they will always check their YouTube. If they want to if they're trying to avoid tasks, then they'll end up watching YouTube videos. So I think, yeah.
Do you think teenagers can be addicted to YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah, some people just think, people use it as like a coping mechanism or just use it for entertainment, and they don't realize that it is an addiction. And then later on, they realize it is an addiction and they try to stop watching YouTube. And it eventually will decrease, but a lot of the time it doesn't. But yeah, people can definitely have an addiction to YouTube.
Wait. And yeah, that's done.
Oh, nice.
I need to stop the recording.
Oh.
YouTube is a very helpful platform when it comes to getting information and for content, but also for since YouTube is a very powerful social media platform, it can lead to increase and overuse of YouTube could lead to negative consequences. So please like and subscribe, and peace.
Do you think teenagers watch YouTube too much?
I don't know. You tell me.